So, pharmaceutical ethics. Here we are discussing ethics and law. Ethics means we have just now discussed that is, it is a moral principle related with the, like, ideally we should always do, think, thought, behave uh, with respect to the right. Like there should be always like parameter of correctness in that right thing. We should always do the right thing, and that normal, that moral practice is also we can associate with our profession. So when we say ethics or professional ethic, here we are going to discuss this rightful behavior with respect to pharma profession. Okay, so when we say ethics and law, दोनों भी इसमें there are certain set of rules which are provided. Like ethics tell us that these are the rules, according to ethic you should follow. Law also states that these are the rules which we have to follow, which we have to follow. Okay, so if both the things are suggesting you the rules, then how they are different. So let us try and understand the difference between this ethics and laws. So as such we can again repeat that ethics is moral principle. It is a science of moral duty. What is this? Okay. So when we say code of ethics, when we say code of ethics, a code of ethics means it is a certain set of rules which are carefully formulated, which are carefully formulated system of principles. Okay. So code of ethics, there will be list of several rules which are enlisted or formed with a very thoughtful process, which are set out because many people have considerably work on that, thought upon that, and these rules are now set. Okay, so they will be known as a code of ethic. So it is a carefully formulated system of principles or rules of practice for guidance of particular group of individual. Okay, such as member of profession. So ethics are generally suggested or given for particular group. For example, people from particular profession. So for example, in our case, code of ethics will be derived or suggested by authorities, which will be referred to as code of ethics with respect to pharma profession. Okay. So when we have such code of ethics, it indicates that our profession is evolving, and our professional people who are involved into our profession, they are growing moral consciousness. Okay, so for any profession, when there are certain rules set out, that is code of ethics are set out, it indicates that that profession is growing, it is evolving, and we do also have such ethics in our profession. So we can say that our profession is evolving, it is continuously growing with the understanding of moral consciousness. Okay. So we have already also like seen that laws and ethics are what are laws, what are ethics. In laws there are certain provisions or rules mentioned that with respect to that particular law, how people should behave. If they don't, they have to face certain penalty. Ethics is also, in ethics also there are certain set of rules given. Okay, so in order to differentiate these two, uh, how we can differentiate? Law is, as I said, it is defined as the rules of human conduct binding on all person in a state or a nation. Okay, so when law is applicable, it is applicable to all the person in that particular state or a nation. Mostly we do have a nationwide law. Okay, so under the law it is everyone is uh, they have to follow, or they are binded to the law. Okay, no single individual can be like kept away from the from that law. So वो law के अंदर जो भी rules and regulation दिए, for example there are many laws which are there. Can anyone mention any law which exists into India? Can anyone mention any law which is extending to all the people in India, which is extending to all the people in India? Does anyone know any law? You have to quickly respond. Huh? If you don't know, you can simply tell, no, you don't know any act or law which is extending to all the like people into India. Quickly respond. Yes. Uh, am I audible properly? Am I audible properly? Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes. Am I audible? Okay, okay. So, since I guess you don't know any act which is which has to be like which is applicable to the all people into India, we can say Indian Penal Code (IPC). Okay. So under that act, many things are stated like you cannot harm someone else, you cannot cause injury to other people. So if you do so, you have to face the penalty. So this is how law act. Under that law, rules are given which is applicable to all person in a nation. When we say ethics, ethics is defined as a rules by which profession regulates action. Okay, so for pharma profession, ethics will be suggested or given under that ethic. It is going to regulate the profession of pharma. Okay. It suggests ki how the professional like people who are in pharma profession how they should behave, how they should perform their duties when they are serving their role as a pharmacist or pharma professional. So, in ethics, when we define ethics, it is rules by which profession regulate action and set standard for all its member. So, pharmaceutical ethics, when we say, so their rules will be given for professionals who are acting as a pharmacist or people who are belonging to pharma profession. Okay, difference between law and ethic. Okay, the major difference between law and ethic is that the method of enforcing compliance with the rules. Okay, here डिफरेंस क्या है, दोनों इसमें रूल है हमको पता है, लेकिन डिफरेंस क्या है कि इट इज अ मेथड ऑफ इन्फोर्सिंग कंप्लायंस विद द रूल्स. सो एक्ट में अगर बोला जाए कि यू शुड नॉट कॉज इंजरी टू someone else. Okay, so that is the act rule stating into that act. So वो जो रूल है सबने फॉलो करना चाहिए, उसके लिए हाउ एक्ट इज like enforcing its compliance with the rule. Okay, कि वो होना चाहिए, no one should cause the injury to someone else. ये जो रूल है वो सब लोग फॉलो सबने फॉलो करना चाहिए. इसके लिए एक्ट में हाउ एक्ट इज effective in meeting with this rule or bringing how act is effective so that everyone should follow this rule. So why this statement that is no one should cause injury to other, ये जो रूल सब लोग फॉलो क्यों करते हैं, क्योंकि एक्ट के अंदर ऐसा सजेस्ट किया है कि इफ यू ब्रेक द रूल you have to face the fine or you have to face the punishment or both, or you have to face some monetary other monetary penalties. कि तो तुमको पता है कि if you cause injury to someone else you have to face this kind of penalty. So by knowing this kind of penalties you will refrain yourself from causing injury to other. So this is the way by which this act or law they it is their method of enforcing the compliance with rules. Okay, and when we say how the ethics make a professional under that ethic to follow rules. Okay, so when we say ethics, uh, there will be also rules, and if we break the rule, the professional who are in that profession for which this set of standard are already suggested, if they broke the this professional ethic, they have to face loss of certain professional privilege which they have got for being pharmacists, for example. So if you break the rule while performing your duty as a pharmacist, so if you break this rule of ethic, what you have to do, you have to face a loss of your professional privilege. Example of this, like for example, if you are not doing your duty as pharmacist properly in while working into retail store, what you may have to lose is that you have to lose your certificate, that is pharmacist registration certificate. So such kind of these penalties you have to face. Okay, such kind of this so such things, then so this is the way how ethics operate, this is the way how law operate. Laws are for general public, for all. Ethics are specially for people belonging to that specific profession. Okay, now so there is a certain set of clarification mentioned into this slide, which again tell us difference between laws and ethics. So let us understand few more differentiating parameter between law and ethic. So this slide tells us that under the law, it prevent you from causing injury to other, but law cannot force you to help your neighbors in the hour of need. Okay, so this is your moral duty, or this comes under ethic, that if someone is in need, you have to help that individual. So law is not going to tell you, force you to help people who are in need. So who is going to let you do that is the ethic, your principle. Okay, so when it comes to the our profession is that BNC Act जो है उसमें it is clearly mentioned, under the act it is clearly mentioned that you should not sell substandard qualities. Okay, you should not you should not sell substandard qualities of medicine. Okay, so this is prevented under act. Act will not tell you that sell drugs at cheaper rate. Okay, okay, it is mandatory under that act, you should not sell medicine at higher price, but act is not act will not tell you that you can you cannot sell medicine at cheaper rate. Okay, so as a pharmacist you can follow this practice, that is sell your medicine at cheaper rate. Now why you need to do such thing is that you may sell your medicine at cheaper rate simply for attracting the uh, customer, you can say customer from the neighboring pharmacies, so you can sell your medicine at cheaper rate. Okay, so this is not prevented under act, but it can be prevented under ethics, because it will not be ethical to sell medicine at cheaper rate and lower down the sales of neighboring pharmacist. So ethics tells you that you should not profit by causing loss to, like you should not gain the profit by causing loss to your fellow colleagues or fellow pharmacist. So that is the we can say differentiating parameter between ethics and the law. Okay, so by summarize with respect to summary between this ethics and law, we can state one statement is that you should always behave with certain level of ethics. Okay. So it is said that if a man without ethic, how he is going to appear? He is going to appear like uncivilized man in a civilized situation. Okay. So there are two when we say that professional ethic or uh, 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 professional individual. When we say that professional individual, they have to bear these two qualities. एक तो competency होनी चाहिए, means they should carry the necessary knowledge in their field, as well as they should have this ethical code of conduct. So that is going, these two things together, it is going to be the necessity for growth of your profession. Okay. So now, what is pharmaceutical code of ethic? Yeah, just now we have seen that now you are being a student of pharmacy education. You should be competent in your profession. You should get all the knowledge. You should get all the skill which is required, for which will be requiring for you to serve properly your role into the field of pharma profession. So you should gain this competency, all the knowledge, all the skill. Okay. Along with that, you should also have this social understanding. You should know that after completing your course, you are going to face the society, you are going to serve the society. So how should we you should have this social understanding, so that you can relate all the knowledge into your pharma field to you can apply it properly with this ethical parameter into your knowledge, and you should behave properly into the society when you are serving as a pharmacist to the society. Okay, so we can say that professional competence and ethical behavior. Okay, that is a right behavior. You should not do any wrong behavior while serving as a pharmacy professional. So ethical behavior and the professional competency, these are necessary for the practice of pharma profession. Any profession is mentioned over here, we are considering only pharma profession. So these two things are important for practice of pharma profession. Which two things? Professional competency and ethical behavior. If we don't have ethical behavior, if we don't have code of ethical code of conduct, what will happen? Professions would be lost. You will not have a quality or a profession which will be helpful for the society. So it is must that you should have this code of ethical conduct. Okay. So it is important for us to make it sure that pharmacist, while he is training, he should know the standards of professional conduct, that is code of ethic. And we should also understand that a deviation from these standards cannot maintain the uh, status of pharmacy profession. Okay, so to have we should always work in such a way that the status of pharmacy profession, it raises continuously. So it is also backed upon, based upon the code of ethic. If we don't follow code of ethics, status जो है, like people will blame a pharma profession because it may get because of the wrong practice, this status can be like instead of raising up, it may go down. Okay, so it is essential for a status of pharmacy profession that this code of ethic should be followed or conducted by the professional into the field. Okay. Pharmacy profession, it requires knowledge, skill, and integrity on part of those engaged in it. Okay. Now, see, our profession is associated with medical profession as well. We know that being a pharmacist, we have to receive prescription from a registered medical practitioner. So we are linked with that profession. And yes, we are here to serve the or preserve the public health. So we should behave in like that, like by knowing, by keeping into mind that we are here with certain duties to perform, so that public health can be preserved. Okay. So this is important in order to maintain ethical practices into the profession. PCI has formulated code of ethics for guidance of pharmacist. So we do have certain set of rules to be followed while being a pharmacist, and that set of rules are formulated as a code of ethics by PCI. So it covers this code of ethics covers rules or principles to be observed by pharmacist while dealing himself with his job. Okay, so we have to follow this code of ethics while we are in our job. So we should have certain set of rules or which we have to follow while we are in job and while we are dealing with the public or while we are dealing with the patron, that is a senior or the owner. Now, why it is important? We'll see this why it is important and what exactly we have to follow. We'll discuss that. Professional conduct. Now, we know that we have to follow this rule under ethic. At the same time, we should refrain ourselves or we should avoid any objectionable act or omission. So, whatever which are like against these ethics, we should strictly avoid that. Okay, so we should like maintain our good social career, and we should have, this is very important, we should have an attitude of service and sacrifice at the counter of retail shop when we are doing our duty as a pharmacist. So this is a general example for in this profession, or the example which we many of us know, that is a retail pharmacist. So when we are at the counter for dispensing medicine, we should carry this attitude of service, okay, and sacrifice. How we are going to perform this, that attitude of service, we have to properly engage the patients who are coming to us for having the medicine. So we should dispense them with this attitude of service and sacrifice. We should counsel them properly by like properly knowing and keeping this attitude of service. Okay, so this we also know that we are dealing in handling of the medicine, selling and distribution and dispensing of medicinal substances. And when we do this, at some times we are also dealing with the medicines which are potent drug. Sometimes it can be also poisonous. So it is like a job which we do at a retail shop. It is a serious business, so we have to perform this with proper alertness, care, and with obviously proper code of conduct. Okay. We should always be ready to assist the colleagues with information or advice. Okay, we should recognize responsibility. Whatever we have to perform that responsibility. Now, certain set of rules which we have to know, like when we are doing this with respect to our job, what are the set of rules given? They are given under different segments. First is pharmaceutical service. So being a pharmacist at the retail store, what is our duty is that we should uh, provide efficient and reasonably comprehensive pharmaceutical service through the medical store. So if we have opened a medical store for supplying obviously medicine to patient, we should do it properly. Okay, there should not be any undue delay in dispensing medicine. Okay, so if we have opened a shop, we should be able to fulfill the demand of the people. So ये service है, we should provide these services which should be without any undue delay. Now, while in a pharmacy or drug store, what are our moral duty or what code of conduct we should follow? Okay. This we know that in every pharmacy or drugstore, we should have a qualified pharmacist. So this is made mandatory by PCI as well. That for dispensing, we require qualified pharmacist to remain at the counter for dispensing medicine, so that there will be personal control over the pharmacy. Okay. So pharmacies should be available for dispensing of medicine. Okay. फार्मेसी शुड बी प्लान, जो हमारा स्टोर है उसका प्लान या फिर उसका लेआउट या फिर उसका डिज़ाइन या ऐसा होना चाहिए कि देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी accidental contamination in the preparation, dispensing and supply of medicine. Okay, so sometimes pharmacies are there where compounding operations can be done. So if that space is allotted, if that operations are conducted into pharmacy, it should be made sure that there is no accidental contamination during this operation. Okay. Appearance of the premises should reflect professional character of the pharmacy and indicate to the public that practice of pharmacy is the main purpose of the establishment. Okay. Appearance of the premises. Premises should be kept clean, hygienic. Pharmacist should wear a apron so that it reflects that the pharmacist who is there or the entire pharmacy is there to serve the uh, these patient, or their main purpose is to practice the profession of pharmacy in a right way. Okay. Now, when we deal with the prescription, how we have to deal with that prescription. This is also suggested. Uh, what is the right practice or what is ethically sound when we deal with the prescription? Obviously, we receive the prescription mm, which is being written by the registered medical practitioner. Okay. So, prescription presented for dispensing should not be discussed with patient. Okay, this is not our duty. Counseling is there, but this unnecessary discussion with patient regarding the merit or demerit of their therapeutic efficacy, it should not be discussed. Like for example, if a physician has suggested any medicine for that pharmacist, so he should not tell that "Ki this medicine is not effective or this is magical medicine." Such kind of discussion should not be done, because this is going to create like maybe doubt, or a doubt in the mind of patient who is going to receive the medicine. So when we receive prescription, there should not be such discussion with patient. Okay. After receiving the prescription, pharmacist should not even show any expression on his face. They should be strictly avoided. Okay. So this, if patient pharmacist receive the prescription, he should keep himself neutral. There should not be any expression of any doubt or worry on his face. What will happen if such expression come onto the face of pharmacist? When such expression are seen by patient who is already in trouble due to some disease or disorder, so what will happen? He will lose the faith into his therapy, or he will lose the faith into the physician or the doctor who is prescribing that medicine. So such things again should be strictly avoided. See, again here I can mention that such things are not mentioned under act, but this can be morality or ethical practice which are suggested by the PCI, or which are a code of conduct which is given by the PCI. Okay. No addition, omission, or substitution of ingredient in prescription should be made. Okay. We should not modify the prescription without the consent of prescriber. Okay. Whatever prescriber is mentioning, we have to sell only that, only this medicine itself. We cannot modify prescription without discussing with the physician. Okay. In case of any obvious error in the prescription, so sometimes there are chances that such error may happen from the physician end. Okay, so at that time also you should not give your facial expression doubting the doubting what create in doubt about the physician in the minds of patient. Okay. So if there are some obvious error, it has to be referred to prescriber. So at that time, you should communicate with the prescriber and you should do the necessary correction under as suggested by the physician. Okay. If at all any changes in the prescription is necessary in the interest of public, interest of health of patient, it should not affect the reputation of the physician or prescriber. Okay. So sometimes if changes in prescription are required, okay, we as a pharmacist, we are knowing many things about the medicine. We can do we can have the patient counseling, and sometimes changes in prescription may be required. So at that time we can again communicate with the physician, but the communication should be in proper line. It should not uh, it should not be we should not what blame the physician about such thing. There should be a proper communication between physician, and then we can do these changes only after approval by the physician. Okay, this is also one next ethical practice which is to be followed by the pharmacists, is that pharmacists should not recommend any particular prescriber. Okay, at the counter in a retail shop, we retail pharmacy store, we should not recommend to the patient that visit any particular doctor for the any particular condition. This should not be done. We cannot recommend to a patient any particular prescriber unless he is specially asked for. Okay, without any other reason we should not recommend any particular prescriber to the patient. When it comes to the drug ingredient, okay, this is especially with respect to when we do the compounding. Okay, so whenever we do compounding of formulation, it should be weighed and measured properly. Compounding means formulation. We have the formula when we prepare the preparation. So when we do the compounding with respect to drug ingredient, it should be all the ingredients should be weighed properly. It should be measured correctly. Okay. Pharmacists should always use drug and medicine of standard quality. We cannot sacrifice with the quality of a standard of the quality of medicine. And if drug or medicines they are likely to cause addiction or any other form of abuse, it should not be supplied when there is a reason to suppose that it is required for such purpose. At our retail shop, obviously such things we cannot do, that is supplying of medicine which may cause addiction or abuse to the use of that drug. So this is with respect to drug ingredient. With respect to practical training, while being practicing or while working as a trainee in pharmacy store, what is the code of conduct? While imparting practical training, in charge pharmacist should see that the trainee is acquiring sufficient technique and skill. Okay, so that will be the duty of in charge pharmacist. And while being a trainee, you should get a thorough and sufficient knowledge about all the operations which are performed into the or maybe retail store. So if you are doing your training properly, at that point only certificate should be issued. Otherwise, certificate should not be issued. So this is with respect to practical training. Pharmacist in relation to his trade. Price structure. Okay, while being a pharmacist in a retail shop, uh, prices of drug or medicinal preparation charged from the customer should be fair. We should not charge unnecessarily extra amount of money from the these customers, that is who are our patient. So this practice should be followed. Fair trade practice. Okay. So now this one example we have seen is that in order to capture the business from the neighboring pharmacist, we should not do unethical prices like selling the medicine at low price or offering this gift, etc. Okay, so this is actually unethical. So here I can mention is that yes, you can grow your pharmacy business by taking various measure, but at the same time it should like all the measures which you are taking to increase your business, it should not cause the cutthroat competition, or it should not lead to lowering the sale of a neighboring pharmacist, because that will be considered as a unethical. You should not copy or imitate any trademark, label, or symbol, or any other sign which currently other pharmacists are using. So you cannot do that copying of such thing, because on that like trademark or label, that pharmacist or that pharmacy store is able to sell many medicines, and they are able to generate the profit. So you cannot copy their symbol, trademark, etc. to sell your medicine, because that will be unethical. Yes, and drug and other ingredient required should always be purchased from reputable sources. You should always purchase and stock medicine into your store from this reputed distributor or any other sources. Okay, so that there will be guarantee that the medicine which you are storing, they are of the good quality. Hawking of drug is not allowed. You cannot sell your medicine by using this technique of hawking. No, that is not allowed for selling the medicine. Self-service method is also not allowed. You cannot ask patient to go and pick up medicine from the shelf which are there into your store, because if such thing will do, it may lead to self-medication, and which can be undesirable and dangerous. Okay, advertisement and display. And this is with respect to that you should not display or advertise on the premises. You should also advertise in newspaper or elsewhere regarding the abilities and services provided by the pharmacy. So ethically, it is actually not allowed. Here, I can mention that to promote your business, you can do, but provided that you are not harming anyone else's business, or you are not doing any wrong practices. Pharmacists should not make any such advertisement like misleading or exaggerated statement or claim. Exaggerated statements or claim you should not do. You cannot claim or you cannot guarantee of therapeutic efficacy. 100% guarantee of any therapy is not possible, and you should not advertise such thing for any medicine. You cannot you cannot tell patient that or consumer that use this medicine, and if it is not efficacious, you can have money back or refund. No, that is not allowed. An appeal to fear, you cannot create fear into the mind of consumer and ask them to buy medicine. No, that is not allowed. You cannot use word cure in reference to an ailment or symptoms of an ill health. Pharmacist in relation to medical professional. We are knowing that we are in close contact with respect to the profession, to the medical profession. So we should live in harmony with this medical professional. Few things with respect to this is that a pharmacist under no circumstances should practice medicine. That means we are not allowed to diagnose and prescribe the medicine. We are allowed to compounding and dispensing of medicine. So we should not like encroach into the medical profession. This is not ethically right. Okay. So diagnosing and prescribing is not our job or duty. Pharmacist, yes, this is also pharmacist should never enter into any secret agreement with the medical profession. Okay, so this is like which we see sometimes is that the pharmacist, they are mostly open near to the this clinic, physician clinic, and sometimes there is secret agreement between them that prescriber recommend particularly our shop to for purchasing the medicine. So if it is happening secretly through the agreement, it is not ethically allowed. For convenience, you can open your medical store near some clinic. Convenience purpose, for convenience of patient, it is allowed. But you are doing it purposely, and if this professional, medical professional, they are purposely sending a patient to purchase medicine to your retail store, then that is not allowed. That is not ethically correct. Okay. Then pharmacist is a link between medical profession and the public. He should be in constant touch with modern developments. Okay, so we should always be in constantly touch with the modern development into the pharmacy and allied field. We should continuously update our knowledge into our field so that better health of the public can be maintained. Okay, so with respect to knowledge, we should continuously remain updated about our uh, um, uh, uh, knowledge into our field. Pharmacist in relation to the profession. Okay, we know that we should observe the law and ethical principle. That means we should follow the law and ethical principle so that to maintain or to raise the standard of profession. We should always cooperate with the fellow pharmacist, neighboring pharmacist, and we should be there for their help or need. We should try to weed out undesirable, corrupt, or dishonest conduct of the member. If we find that few of our fellow pharmacist member, they are doing undesirable, corrupt or dishonest conduct, if they are doing the wrong practices, we should work in such a way that we have to remove such kind of practices. We should not accept such kind of practices, and we should work in removing such kind of dishonesty and undesirable practices into our field. We as a pharmacist, we should have fair knowledge about several laws of the state and nation with respect to food, drug, education and health. So awareness about this act, awareness about what is currently happening into a profession, that is important for you, uh, and that is also important for health of the society. Yes, so we should have up to date knowledge into our field. Okay. So this is in total the code of ethics which we should follow while being into while serving a profession of a pharmacy. So